If you are a complete beginner to SEO and blogging, but you know you need to do it because you understand its importance and significance of building a lasting brand, then this is the video for you. In this training, I cover all of the topics that you need to understand to make sure that you are building the perfect foundations on your website to allow for future growth within search engines. And this also includes blogging as well, where you create lots of content to share on your website, as well as giving you a platform to create more content for social media. This is a coaching session that I did in the Home Fragrance Academy Facebook group, and I'm now about to play it for you. I hope you enjoy. Welcome to this next installment of the Home Fragrance Academy live coaching that we do in this Facebook group for you lucky HFA members. All right then, so this one is called SEO and Blogging Basics. Now, this video, as always, will be saved in your Home Fragrance Academy dashboard via your account. I will most likely upload that in the morning. So it will be there for you to watch whenever you want to if you need to come back. But let's get cracking, shall we? So in this live coaching, what we're going to cover is what is SEO and what does it do for you and your website. Some basic updates you can do to help with SEO. Creating SEO-friendly product descriptions. Why you should blog. How to structure a blog and how often to do so. And also how to get backlinks and why you need to get backlinks. So the definition of SEO is search engine optimization is the practice of optimizing your website to rank higher in search engine results. Pretty straightforward, isn't it? The whole point of doing this is so when people are searching for your relevant keywords, you are found high within the search results, ideally within the top 2 or 3 above your competitors. And that's the things we're going to try and cover today. This is for basics as well. So the main thing we're going to be covering are laying the foundations for your success. And then you will require ongoing content, ongoing work to ensure it continues to perform well. And that's what we cover later on with regards to the blogging. So the purpose of SEO is to increase visibility of your website and brand, to attract more visitors to your website, therefore driving more sales. There are some key components for SEO. Obviously, keywords, that's one of the main things. But also, it's the quality of the content you're producing, the backlinks you get as well. And also, user experience. This is something that a lot of people don't really think about. But actually, as Google has developed over time, it's moving away from being solely reliant on keywords and more about user experience. How does the content on your website answer the questions that your visitor has? How easy is it to read? How easy is it to digest? And do they get the answers that they want? Now, obviously, Google is incredibly clever and it knows exactly how to analyze websites for all of this. So I'll cover that very shortly, but what you don't want to be doing is just creating paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs, stuffing them full of keywords, because that simply wouldn't work. 15 years ago, when I first really started getting into SEO, yes, that worked wonders. It was absolutely brilliant, but no, not so much anymore, I'm afraid. And then you've got the technical SEO side of things, which we will touch on, but not too much. This is the nitty-gritty of the website. So here are a few basic things you can do to your website. The first thing is keyword research. So if you go to Google and Google for the Google Keyword Planner, it's quite intuitive. You'll have to sign into your Google account because it's all part of AdWords. But there's a big button there which says Find New Keywords. And what you want to do is you can type in keywords to find other relevant keywords as well. And what you want to do is focus on long tail keywords. So these are keywords that are made up of multiple words. So for example, let's assume your main keyword is wax melts. Okay, that's what you sell, could be candles, whatever, but for this instance, wax melts. That's your main keyword. Everyone wants to rank for that, of course. But long tail keywords versions of this could be wax melts gifts, scented wax melts, soy wax mounts. Now you can be more in depth than that as well and have a longer tail, but for the purpose of this, these are the ones we're going to use. The reason you want to do that is because if you have a look at this here, this is the keyword wax mounts, and this is the average monthly searches that phrase gets, between 10 and 100,000. That's obviously very broad, but it gives you an idea. Let's say it's in the middle of that, 50,000 searches a month. It's a lot of searches. And if there's a lot of searches for a popular keyword like this, the competition will be very, very difficult. It's going to be hard for you to compete. So instead of doing that, focus on the long tail keywords. And you can see here, you get less searches for those. So scented wax mounts, between 1,000 and 10,000 searches a month. But that's still a lot of traffic. And because there's less searches, the competition is typically less, and therefore it's easier to compete. And what you'll find is over time, if you start optimizing your website for scented wax mounts, you'll probably find yourself ranking nice and high for the more generic term wax mounts as well. So when you're doing your keyword research, try to find long tail keywords. And this is for each page of your website as well. So overall, if you sell wax mounts, your main homepage will be optimized around these longer tail keywords. But then as you dive into your website, your different products, your individual scents, or you might sell wax burners or anything else that complements it. And your blog posts, which we'll come into soon, you want to find long tail keywords that get a good amount of traffic and optimize those pages around that. One thing I will say, even though this presentation is for beginners, I would recommend sort of either taking some notes or coming back and watching this again, because it can get a bit in depth, just like it did there when I was talking about the keywords. So anyway, here are some on-page SEO things you can do. So you've got title tags. This is the main title, typically the main title of your page. So if it's the example I'm going to use throughout this presentation is baby powder wax belts. So if you have a product which is a baby powder wax melt, your title text at the top of the page and the actual title tag itself, you would want to include baby powder wax melts within that. The title tag is what lets Google understand what the page is about. And it's also, the title tag is when you search for something in Google, when you're clicking on the blue links, that is typically the title tag as well. You then have the meta description. This is what tells Google what the page is all about. And again, these are listed in the Google search results as well. It needs to be a compelling description, and you want to include your keyword in there a couple of times as well if you can. And then throughout the content of that particular page, you'll have various different headings. So you have a H1, H2, H3 tags, and this is all about the structuring your content. So taking baby powder wax masks, for example, if that's the title of your page, typically your website, if you click on your baby powder wax masks page, it will use the H1 tag already. You only want to use that once on the page. And then if you have multiple other headings, so for example, specifications or scent description, have those as H2s. And then underneath H2s, if you've got a scent description and then you want to have another little heading below that, use that as a H3. So here are some examples. This is roughly what it will look like. When you're editing a page on your website, there will typically be an area for SEO where you can edit stuff. So this is where you'll change your page title and your page description. So this is an example from the Home Fragrance Academy website, one of our more recent blogs. Page title is How to Start a Candle Business in 4 Steps. Our main keyword here is how to start a candle business. So that's nice and long tail. And the page description mentions candle business a couple of times, but it also has other sort of keywords in there as well, like starting a candle business or finding a niche, sell your candles, those kind of things there as well. So it gives Google an idea of what this page is all about. And then when you're editing product descriptions or any form of content on your website via your admin area, you'll typically have an area that looks like this when you highlight text. It might look slightly different. You might have to click around a little bit, but it will give you a good idea of how it's going to be structured. So you've got your heading 1 there, which is the H1 tag. That's what that means. And you only want to use that once. And typically it would already be used automatically for you. Subheadings for H2. And then below that, you want to use the H3 for your bold headings. This, if you can structure a page around this using your long tail keywords, you will outperform probably 99.5% of your competitors. Most people don't know about this. Most people don't do this or care, or they rush their product descriptions because they've got so many products, they just put them on there. So if you can do this, Google will really understand what that page is about, and it will typically, over time, there's a very good chance it will rank your baby powder wax melts page higher than your competitors. And then we get onto the more technical SEO side of things. So the website really does need to be mobile friendly and ensure it's completely mobile responsive. I've got a link here. You won't be able to click it, but if you take a screenshot and type it into Google, you will then be able to type in your web address, and it will give you a score of how your website is optimized for Google on a mobile device. It does all things like page speed and everything like that. So it will sort of tell you, it'll give you a real simple marker, like it's like red, amber, green coloring, to tell you how well it's performing. So that will give you an idea of how it is currently, and then it will tell you some things you can do to change it. It can get very, very technical, and some of the things are really hard to do because it'll ask you to update code and all this kind of stuff. If you really want to do that kind of thing, then I'd recommend finding a freelance web developer on someone like Upwork or Fiverr, somewhere like that, and they'll be able to take care of all of that for you. But there will be some things you can do yourself. Site speed is very, very important, especially on mobile devices. And this is a key ranking factor for Google. So if you have a very slow website, if you have a page that loads very slowly, it will de-rank you. And here's another little web address for you. If you go there, you will be able to upload your images from your website, and it will reduce the file size of them without compromising the quality. And therefore, and then if you re-upload those to your website, it will mean that your page will start to load a lot quicker. And then you've got the URL structure itself. Now, the URL is basically the web address bar at the top of your internet browser, or on a mobile at the bottom, wherever it is, where you type in www.google.com. When you're creating new pages, or if you've got adding a new product, you want to make sure that your long tail keywords are in that URL. So, for example, cozyaromas.com/baby powder wax mats with hyphens in between each word. So then Google knows that page is all about baby powder wax mats. And then we move on to product descriptions. This is where you can really start to get some good wins for your SEO. You want to use, obviously, the long tail keywords that we've been discussing. And you want to naturally include those into your descriptions. Don't try and force them in so it doesn't make sense. Because as I said earlier, with AI technology getting much, much better, obviously Google is a lot more advanced than that. And it will know if you've tried to stuff the page full of keywords. So just write it naturally, but ensure that you are mentioning those words in there. Have a section on your product description which includes your features and benefits. So outline why people should buy this product. Use bullet points, because that makes it much clearer and easier to understand, and make it relevant to that particular product, that particular fragrance. And make sure it's unique. So don't just copy, I mention this a lot, I know I do, but don't just copy and paste same descriptions from your supplier's websites. Always rewrite it. If you can't rewrite it, or it's going to take too long, which it can do, if you go to chatgpt.com, you may or may not be aware of this anyway, But if you go to there and just type in a prompt, say, please rewrite this to be 100% unique, and then paste in your scent description from your supplier's website, it will then rewrite it for you. And then you can use that. Aim for about 150 to 300 words per product description. And readability, like I mentioned earlier, use bullet points, use short paragraphs and clear language. You don't want to have masses of text because people just won't read it. It needs to be broken up into bite-sized chunks so they can easily skim it if they want to. Now we're going to move on to blogging. So why should you blog? So it's fantastic for content marketing. It really helps you to share valuable information and build authority in your niche. Now, I talk about finding yourself a niche within the fragrance world quite a lot. And I use the example of book lovers. So let's say you do sell candles for book lovers. There's a lot of content you can create around that about different fragrances, about different books, all of that kind of stuff. And it really helps to build authority within that. And it has lots of SEO benefits. So fresh content can improve your search engine rankings. And it really helps to boost engagement as well, because when you share these on social media, you'll get comments, you can reply to those. And if you have comments turned on your blog, on your website, you can encourage people to leave comments on there for you to reply to. And blogs can drive lots of traffic to your website through organic search. And make sure on each blog post, you try to include social media share buttons, which is something I need to do for the HFA blog. So then if people do really like it, they can just easily share it onto their feed. You might be thinking, what kind of things can you write about? There's actually so much you can write about. You can create some how-to articles. So how to look after a candle, how to remove wax from your burner, how to reuse old wax melts, how to make your own candles. You see what I mean? These are all different things. You can open up your Google keyword planner, search for something like this, or even better, ask ChatGPT to say, open up ChatGPT and tell it what you do and what you make, and then say you want to create some how-to articles that will help to generate traffic to your website. And then it might come up with things like this. It might come up with a lot of other things that you hadn't even thought of. Then you can just create content around that and start posting it. Review articles. So, baby powder wax melts review. How many fragrances do you sell? Create review articles for each one of those. Do you sell wax warmers? Create a wax warmer reviews blog. And then you've got more intricate things such as scent highlights. So one title could be the calming benefits of lavender. You can talk about lavender and then obviously mention your candles and wax melts within that post. And then here's another one. Sell your home with fresh bread wax melts. Now that scent, fresh bread might be the wrong one, but that scent, when you walk into a home and you can smell fresh bread, you immediately feel warmth and comfort and fall in love with it. So you can create a blog post all around that kind of thing for people. If they want to sell, if they're looking to sell their home, you can find some keywords around that and then create blog posts about that as well. So how should you structure a blog? You need to have a title, obviously, and use compelling, keyword-rich title. Something short, sweet, to the point, but it has your long-tail keywords in there. Then you want to have an introduction. So introduce the topics that you're going to cover within this blog post so it captures the reader's interest, ideally saying what they're going to learn from it as well. This is for those people that want to skim very quickly. They'll see, yes, okay, I can see that this blog post is going to answer the question I want. I'm going to read more. And then within the body copy itself, the main content, divide it into sections with the subheadings, as I mentioned earlier, the H2, H3 tags. Use short paragraphs, bullet points, and images. Then you should always have a conclusion at the end because it's fantastic for summarizing, but also that is the ideal time to have a call to action. So you'd summarize, again, let's use baby powder, for example. You'd summarize this particular fragrance, say it's wonderful for nostalgia. If you're aiming at people that have had children who have left home, it's nostalgic, blah, blah, blah. If you'd like to buy a baby powder wax melt, click here. That's your call to action. And it has And for SEO, you want to include your keywords naturally. As I mentioned earlier, again, don't just try to stuff them in there. Try and make sure they fit in nice and naturally. And then internal and external links as well. So external links are links which go to other websites if you want to do that. However, internal links are ones that go to other pages on your website. So if on a baby powder wax melts page where you mention baby powder wax melts, link that to that particular product. But don't go crazy with this. You only want to do about 4 or 5 per blog. Otherwise, Google will catch on to what it is you're trying to do. So this is a screenshot of one of our more recent blogs on the Home Fragrance Academy. It's how to start a candle business in 4 steps. It's simple, it's to the point, and our keyword, our long tail keyword is how to start a candle business. We're trying to optimize this for people searching for that. So when they land on this page, they'll see, okay, in 4 steps. So straight away they're thinking, okay, it's quite straightforward. Short spaced paragraphs. Now, of course, these are just sentences, but this is how you want to space it out. Some will go on 2 or 3 lines. That's fine, but you don't really want to go any more than 2 or 3 lines per paragraph. Keep it so simple for them. And then bullet points as well, which is the key takeaways they're going to have after they read this blog post. And then as you scroll down the post, I've got my H2 subheading because each step of the 4 steps is a H2 heading. And then this particular step, I wanted another heading as well. That's where I'd use the H3. So then Google will see this as a well-optimized page. It's got all of the structure in place. It's easy to read, easy to consume, and therefore it will stand a much better chance of being ranked nice and high. So how often should you blog? It's more about being consistent. So more important than how often is just establishing yourself a schedule that you can maintain. It can be every 2 weeks, it can be once a month, or it can be weekly. Don't just think that producing lots of content, lots of blog posts will help. It's all about making sure they are high quality. And don't just use ChatGPT to write the whole content for you, because that is not written with humans in mind. It's very robotic, okay? And Google is a lot more clever than that. It does work. It can work, but try to write these out yourselves and allow an hour or so. What you can use ChatGPT for is to give, if you say to it, you want to write a blog post all about lavender and the calming benefits of it, but you want to include subtle call to actions to your products, then ask it for the structure. It will give you a structure of headings and subheadings, which you can then fill in. And also, how often is a blog is based on your audience expectations. So you can sit when you're going to work out your schedule of how often to do a blog post. Just think about how often your customers and your audience will want to see this. For example, you'll do social media posts once or twice a day, I imagine. How often would they like to see good quality content like this? Now, here's the backlink side of things. Backlinks are very hard to get. They're very time consuming, they're very difficult, but they are very, very important. This is because the more good quality websites that link to your website, Google will see that as a form of trust. If your website has plenty of links from other places, Google will think, okay, this is a popular website, people trust it, I will trust it, and I will therefore push it above other websites. So the way you can do this is by doing guest blogging on other websites. So you can contact people that are within your niche. So if you make candles for book lovers, find book-related blogs and write content for their blog. But what would happen there is it would link back to your website. That is the backlink. You can partner with other websites for mutual linking. So if you have if you sell wax melts and you have a friend that sells room sprays, you can do mutual linking there because you can complement each other. And content quality as well. So if you create really good quality content, people will want to naturally link to it as a reference. This happens all the time. And then you've got outreach as well. So you can reach out to other bloggers and influencers in your industry and just ask them to link to it. A really good tip that I can't remember where I saw it now, but it's something that I want to implement myself, is if you find a blog elsewhere which talks about the calming benefits of lavender, and it's an outdated blog, it doesn't really talk about, you know, the latest eco trends or anything like that. You can rewrite an article like that and then go to the places that link to it and then just say to them, I've now updated this blog post. I've created a new blog post, which is more up to date. Would you like to link to me instead? And typically they would do that because they just want to make sure that they're linking to high quality content. And then on social media, share your content on social media platforms to increase visibility. That doesn't count as a backlink to your website, but there's more chance of it being found, more chance of other people linking to it. So from this presentation, your key takeaways are to perform keyword research, focusing on long tail keywords, of course, create quality content, and stick to a schedule and be consistent. And then acquire backlinks where you can. Okay, guys, that's it. I hope